Every TikTok shop video, viral or not, is made of the same building blocks. The components are constant. The only difference is the combinations. If you don't have a framework for diagnosing your TikTok shop content, you'll never be able to reverse engineer virality. After driving over 2 billion views on the platform, I've identified the 21 components that every TikTok shop video is made of. The brands that are winning right now, they know which component to change when a video underperforms. They isolate the variable, they test, and they improve. That's what I'm teaching you today. 21 components across 7 layers. By the end of this video, you'll be able to look at any TikTok shop video and diagnose exactly what's working and what isn't. So you'll never have to guess again. By the way, I'm Rajeel and I run Works Media, where we've managed to scale over 50 brands to over 6 and 7 figures on TikTok shop. And in doing so, we've generated more than $100 million in GMV. Content is what we do all day long. Okay, let's get into it. Before we get into the components, I need to explain exactly why this framework exists. Most brands try to improve content by doing what feels logical. When a video doesn't perform well, they change practically everything. New creator, new script, new angle, and even a new hook. They do this because they don't have an idea of what went wrong. And that's the problem. When you change 5 variables simultaneously, you don't learn anything. You can't isolate what moved the needle because you essentially moved everything. Think of a TikTok shop video like a stack of independent switches. Each switch controls one thing. When a video underperforms, your job is to figure out which switch was off, not to flip all of them at once. That's the scientific method applied to content. And it's the difference between randomly trying things and creating a system that improves over time. Now that we're on the same page, let's get back to the switches. There are 21 switches in total, grouped into 7 layers. The hook layer, the trust layer, the content layer, the product layer, the conversion layer, the production layer, and the platform layer. Let's go through each one, starting with the hook layer. The hook layer is the first 2 to 3 seconds of your video. And despite being widely studied and discussed, here's what most people miss. The hook isn't one thing. It's a layer made up of 3 components working simultaneously. The first component is the hook format. Simply put, the hook format is a structural type of opening you use to grab attention. That's literally it. There's many formats out there, and covering all of them would make a video of its own. So that being said, here are the top 3 hook formats that consistently stop the scroll. The mid-action open. The video starts with something that's already happening. A reaction already underway. The viewer arrives and something is incomplete. The reason this works is because the human brain cannot tolerate an open loop. Next up is the verbal shock, a single sentence that creates dissonance. Something like, I've tried 23 sunscreens and this is the first one that actually protected me from sunburns. The number does the work. Then you have the visual contrast. Before and after, a side by side in the first 2 seconds. All you need to do is match the format to the product. So for instance, transformation products do well with a visual contrast. Utility products do well with a mid-action open. Premium or supplement products do well with a verbal shock. Now the second component is text overlay. The text overlay is the on-screen text that comes up in the first few seconds. It's not your caption, it's not a subtitle, and it should never repeat what you're saying out loud. Its job is to add a second layer of meaning. If in the video you're saying something like, I've never recommended a TikTok product before, then the text should say something like, this shocked me. The third component is the opening visual. The opening visual is what the camera is physically showing at the start of the video. A face, product, action, the environment, or a result. Each one creates a completely different expectation before a single word is spoken. A close-up face signals, this is personal, I'm being talked to directly. A product in use suggests, this is demonstrative, I'm gonna see something. A result or a transformation signals proof. The hook layer determines whether someone will watch your video past the first 3 seconds. But getting them to watch is only half the job. The next layer determines whether they believe you or not. The second layer that we're gonna talk about is the trust layer. You can have the perfect hook but still not convert, because the moment the hook ends, the viewer asks this one question. Why should I trust this person? The trust layer answers exactly that question, and it does so with 3 components. Component 1, the creator credibility signal. Trust is established in the first 10 seconds, and there's 4 ways to do it depending on the creator. You could develop trust by showing expertise. You could either show your expertise by saying something like this, or you can be relatable by saying something like this, or even show results by saying something like this. Lastly, you can also play on the community angle by saying something like this. Match your credibility signal to what you actually have. The second component is authenticity cues. These are the visual and tonal signals that tell the viewer whether the content is raw or manufactured. Some of the raw cues include natural lighting, imperfect setting, unscripted sounding delivery, and real reactions. The manufactured cues include perfect lighting, branded environment, polished delivery, products that look staged. And if I'm being real, raw beats polished almost every time. The third component is creator product fit. Creator product fit is whether or not this person belongs in this product's world. A 40-year-old man reviewing a teenage skincare brand, that's a low fit to say the least. A fitness creator reviewing a pre-workout, that sounds about right. A mom of 3 reviewing a home organization product, that's a high fit. fit. A low creator product fit goes beyond reduced conversion. Once the viewer asks why this person is using this product, they're not thinking about your product anymore. So build trust to get them to stay. Once they've stayed, now you need to convert them. And the content layer is where you close that gap. Alright, now the third layer that we're going to talk about is the content layer. There's 4 main components that make it up. So let's talk about each one of them. Starting with the content format, also known as the structural shape of the video. Some of the most used content formats you'll see on TikTok include the talking head, where the creator's face is on the camera and they're speaking directly to the audience. This is best for personal story and authority content. Then there's unboxing, where the camera shows the creator experiencing the product for the very first time. Another format is voiceover plus B-roll. This is best for demonstration and transformation content. There's also educational, conspiracy, POV, green screen, and many more formats to experiment with. Every format can work if you pair it correctly with the other 3 components. The second component is the angle. The angle is the lens through which the story is being told. 2 videos can use the same format but a different angle and have completely different results. Take a look at this. Here's angle A, which is this $22 lotion is better than this $40 lotion. The angle here is a comparison between 2 products. Now look at angle B. Paris Hilton uses this $22 lotion. The angle here is social proof through celebrity association. Test different angles on the same product before you decide to change anything else. The angle is often the difference between 10,000 views and 2 million views. The next component is pacing. The pacing is essentially measuring how fast the information is being delivered. Is there a rhythm to your cuts? Does the length of your sentences vary? Are there changes in your energy levels? Fast pacing requires rapid cuts, short sentences, and high energy. It creates urgency and works really well for hook-heavy short form. Slow pacing, on the other hand, means that there are longer cuts. There's deliberate delivery, which creates trust. It works really well for authority content. The most common pacing mistakes that creators make is that they either pace too fast or they pace too slow. The key here is to slow your pacing when you're explaining something complex and speed it up when you're building momentum or making a point land. The last component in the content layer is what I call the emotional charge. Look, the algorithm rewards content that makes people feel something strong enough to act on. Every like, comment, or share is a result of people feeling amused, scared, or validated. They can also be curious or excited or even happy depending on what is being shown to them. Here's a litmus test to use before posting anything. Ask yourself this: what's the one comment I expect to see the most under this video? If you have an answer to that, that means that the emotional charge is there. Okay, we're halfway through, so let's do a quick recap. We started with the hook layer and talked about the 3 components it includes. The hook format, which is a structural type of opening you use to grab attention. The text overlay, which adds a second meaning to whatever you're saying out loud. And the opening visual, which sets the viewer's expectation before a single word is spoken. Then the trust layer, the credibility signal that tells the viewer why this person is worth listening to. The authenticity cues that tells the viewer whether this content is raw or manufactured. And the creator product fit, whether this person actually belongs in the product's world. And finally, the content layer, which includes the format, which is the structural shape of the video, the angle, which is the lens through which the story is told, and the pacing, which controls how fast or slow the information lands. And finally, the emotional charge, the feeling the video is engineered to produce. That's 10 components across 3 layers. We still have 4 more layers and 11 components to talk about. Those 4 layers are the product layer, the conversion layer, the production layer, and the audience layer. I'll be covering each of these in my next video, which is a continuation of this one. If you're not subscribed, do it now. You don't want to miss that one. By the way, if you're a brand struggling with sales on TikTok Shop right now, go watch my previous video on the cold start phase. It walks you through exactly why your TikTok Shop isn't generating sales and exactly how to get out of that loop. The link is in the description. And if you don't want to figure it out yourself, that's what Works Media does. We run the full TikTok Shop operation for brands, which includes creator recruitment, content strategy, GMV max ads, and shop management. We've done this for 50 plus brands and generated over $100 million in GMV. Book a call to see if you're a good fit. There's also a link to it in the description. Alright, I'll see you in part 2.